Hello everyone, I am Neha Panibhushan, a second year NBT student. Today I'll be going to talk about my project titled Ligand Targeted Therapy, Role of the Surface Density of the Anti-Alpha V Beta 3 Peptides on the PEGB PPS micelles for anti-angiogenic activity. This is my disclosure statement. About 217 million people in the world who are aged 18 and above suffer from ophthalmic diseases which can cause impairment in the vision and lead to permanent loss. Diabetic retinopathy, age-related macular degeneration, and retinopathy of prematurity is characterized by the presence of abnormal neovascularization or the abnormal growth of blood vessels. This is also referred to as angiogenesis. These diseases affect the retina, which is present in the posterior segment of the eye. The main reason of these diseases is due to the loss of balance between the proangiogenic and the anti-angiogenic factors in the eye. Due to the presence of ocular barriers, the treatment of these diseases becomes difficult. Intravitreal anti-VEGF injection is the current treatment strategy which is considered to be one of the most effective treatment options so far. VEGF, also known as vascular endothelial growth factor, is a proangiogenic factor, and FDA-approved drugs like bevacizumab, aflibercept, and ranibizumab are used in order to inhibit the action of VEGF. This type of treatment has also shown some promising outcomes even in preterm infants. However, the current anti-VEGF treatments require frequent intravitreal injections every 4 to 6 weeks. Also, having a higher dose of VEGF can cause certain side effects like myocardial infarction, hemorrhage, etc. This also can have a tendency to destroy the normal blood vessels also, and hence we need to look at alternate methods of treatment. In order to overcome these disadvantages, the anti-integrin approach is being used to treat the retinal pathologies. Integrins are transmembrane receptors and they are proangiogenic. Alpha V beta 3 integrins are a major class of these integrins which are involved in angiogenesis. In our own lab's research, which was conducted by Nagraj et al., a serine aspirin valin containing heptapeptide was used as an antagonist to the alpha V beta 3 integrin, and this showed efficient anti-angiogenesis. In addition to this, the PEGP PPS micelles was also used as a vehicle for the peptide delivery. The peptides are an alternative to the antibodies. They are safe, therapeutically active, and highly selective for a specific target receptor. When these peptides are conjugated onto the surface of the nanocarriers, the efficacy and the versatility of the peptides will be improved. To minimize the frequency of the intravitreal injections of therapeutic molecules, sustained delivery systems have been developed. Some of them are the nanoparticle hydrogen mediated drug delivery system, where the nanoparticles here act as a delivery vehicle. In this method, however, a burst release of the drug can occur, causing hindrance to the vision. In hydrogen mediated drug delivery systems, sometimes the active molecule or the drug along with the hydrogel might get degraded. So the next method which was developed is the nanoparticle hydrogen mediated drug delivery system. However, in this method, the polymer to drug ratio is quite high, and this can be causing some inflammatory responses. In our study, we have used the PEGP PPS smart polymers. They can form hydrogel and in turn form the micelles. Here, we are incorporating our anti-alpha V beta G peptides on the phylomicelles so that they can be incorporated onto the surface of the spherical micelles when the phylomicelles transition into spherical micelles by budding. This occurs in thermodynamically stable conditions. In vitro, it is by photooxidation, and in vivo, it is by physiological ROS. The evaluation of the optimum peptide valency on the nanoparticle design is essential for better performance. The abnormal growth of blood vessels in the eye can be destroyed by cell death or apoptosis. In order to trigger apoptosis, an optimum valency of the peptides must be presented on the surface of the micelles so that they can bind to the alpha V beta 3 integrin and block it. However, if the required valency of the peptides is not present, then there will be no cell death that can take place. Studies have also shown us that having a multivalency of the peptides on the micelles have shown to increase the binding avidity, the rate of internalization, and also the therapeutic efficacy. So, we hypothesize that incorporating optimum density of the anti-angiogenic peptide on the micelles will significantly increase the efficiency of anti-angiogenesis. The aims of this project is to develop and characterize the Begbie-PPS micellar systems with different anti-angiogenic peptide densities. Secondly, it is to evaluate the efficacy of micelles with varying surface densities of anti-angiogenic peptide and comparing this to the cyclic RGD and the scrambled peptide. Coming to the methodology, our first step was the modification of the three peptides, that is the SDV heptapeptide, SGV or the scrambled peptide, and the cyclic RGD. We are modifying the peptides with the PEGB-PPS and palmitoleic acid as spacer in order to extend the peptide out from the micelles for the easy access of the receptor. Post the modification step is the synthesis of the PEGB-PPS micelles and the incorporation of the modified peptides to the micelles. This is followed by the characterization of the anti-angiogenic peptide micelles by dynamic light scattering, DLS, and zeta potential. Post this, we are evaluating the efficacy of the anti-angiogenic peptide bound to micelles and comparing this to the cyclic RGD and the scrambled peptide. This is done by evaluation of the angiogenic markers VWF, PCAM1, the integrin alpha V beta 3, and also by performing the cell viability assay, wound healing, and in vitro tube formation assay. The LCMS spectrum was also carried out to check the purity of the peptide constructs. The peaks which has been obtained in the chromatogram here determines the molecular weight of the peptide constructs. The molecular weight of the SDV is found to be 1350 gram per mole. The SGV was 1291 gram per mole, and for cyclic RGD it was 1174 gram per mole. Next, the characterization of the peptide samples and as well as the blank micelles was carried out using DLS and zeta potential. Figure A represents the DLS spectrum for the blank micelles, SDV, SGV, and as well as for cyclic RGD. From the DLS spectrum, we can understand that the average particle size for blank SDV, SGV, and cyclic RGD is found to be between 20 to 50 nanometer. Figure B represents the zeta potential values of the peptide samples. The zeta potential is an established method to confirm the peptide density on the surface of the nanoparticles. As the density of the peptides increases from SDV 1% to SDV 5%, we can observe here that the zeta potential values have also increased. Also, SDV5, SGV5, and cyclic RGD5 have higher zeta potential values. These zeta potential values lies between -30 to +30 millivolts, thus confirming that the nanoparticle suspension is stable. In order to evaluate the cell cytotoxicity, an MTT assay was performed. This graph shows the cell viability of the HUVEC or the human umbilical vein endothelial cells after 24 hours of incubation with the micelles of different peptide densities, blank micelles and cyclic RGD bound micelles to the cells. At 500 microgram per ml micelle concentration, SDV 1%, 3% and 5% induced a significantly higher toxicity when compared to control. The random peptide SGV, however, did not show any significant toxicity at the concentration studied. The next was the expression of the angiogenic markers VWF and PCAM1. After treating the cells with different peptide samples and performing immunostaining, we analyzed them using confocal microscopy. The green stain here is the VWF, the red is the PCAM1, and the blue is the DAPI stain. We can observe from the figures here as well as the graph that SDV 5% is showing significant inhibition of VWF and PCAM1 when compared to control and SDV 1%. The decrease in the intensity of the VWF and PCAM1 is quite evident when we compare it with control and SDV 1%. Similarly, we have also evaluated the expression and inhibition of the alpha V beta 3 integrins. Here too, with the increase in the peptide density from SDV1 to SDV5%, we can see that the inhibition of alpha V beta 3 integrins has also increased, and this again is signified by the significant decrease in the intensity levels when compared to control and SGV and blank. The wound healing assay was performed to observe the inhibitory effect on the migration of UX by the anti-alpha V beta 3 peptide samples. From the figure here, we can clearly observe that SDV 5% shows the maximum inhibition of migration when compared to SDV 1% and also control. The next was the in vitro tube formation assay. In here, the in vitro angiogenesis or the tube formation was inhibited in the HUVEC cells by the PEG-PPS anti-alpha V beta 3 peptides in a dose-dependent manner. SDV 5% is showing maximum inhibition of tube formation when compared to SDV 3% and SDV 1%, suggesting that better anti-angiogenic effect can be observed by SDV 5%. To summarize, at 500 microgram per ml micelle concentration, SDV 1%, 3% and 5% induced a significantly higher toxicity compared to control. Random peptide SGV did not show any significant toxicity at the concentration studied. A significant increase in the inhibition of VWF and PCAM1 angiogenic markers was also observed when the surface density of the peptides was increased from 1% to 5%, and this result was found to concur with all the experiments performed. From this study, we can conclude that the peptide density on the micellar surface is crucial in enhancing the integrin clustering for anti-angiogenesis. This study also provided a detailed understanding of the development of a novel ligand-targeted therapeutic strategy which can be utilized for various disease conditions. I would like to thank my mentor, Dr. Divya Vijayakumar, for her constant guidance and support. I would also like to thank Dr. Matthew, Dr. Lee, and Dr. Gnanashekar for their helpful insights. I would like to thank my collaborators, Dr. Ivan Scott and Trevor Stack from Northwestern University, and Dr. Ben Matthew from Mercy Health. I would also like to thank Dr. Ramaswamy and Dr. Khalifa for their constant guidance and encouragement and for giving me an opportunity to present this. I would like to thank Suacho, Jody, Laura, Lisa, and all my lab members for their constant help and encouragement. Thank you.